everyone. So excited to get started today. Today, we're speaking about public speaking and how to get rid of your fear of public speaking. We've got with us Nancy Katyal, who's an executive presence and leadership coach. And I know most of you don't think this, but almost everyone hates to be in front of the camera, hates to be in front of an audience. And most of us, and I think the statistics say 73% of us actually get jitters when we have to talk in front of people. So whether it's speaking to one person or speaking to a large group, your ability to communicate effectively is one of the most critical skills one needs to harness and polish. And in this session, we're going to learn tools and techniques to become a natural and a dynamic speaker. The key takeaways that we're going to do is overcoming the fear of public speaking, how to captivate your audience through your voice and nonverbal communication, and how to deliver your ideas effectively so people actually want to listen to you. So Nancy has over 20 years of experience. She's considered one of the leading voices in corporate circles and is a visiting faculty at top B schools like IIM and MIT. She is the recipient of many awards. So she has received the Lokmat Sakhi Saman Award, the Karamveer Chakra Award. And I'm going to ask her, I think one of the most fascinating things she's done, and I'm going to start with that question, that her daughter was the youngest TED speaker. We're not talking TEDx, we're not talking TED India, we're talking TED Global. So I will shoot right with that, Nancy. How was it to be on a global platform, having your daughter there, training her to speak where the greatest minds speak?
Thank you, Suketi, for that question, and namaste and hello, everyone. Now, it was fascinating. And also, considering the topic that we are talking about, how to get rid of the fear of public speaking, I can tell everyone that I was lucky or fortunate enough to go to the green room and see how speakers are before they go onto the stage. And I can tell you, each one of them personally told me that they have these butterflies in the stomach. So I can tell you that, yes, it's a skill that everybody can nurture, but each one of them has done their work before they went on the stage. So it was an amazing experience.
Fantastic. So with women, and this is one of the reasons why we want to bring it up, we find that this is particularly true, especially in meetings and different conversations, they find that they're either being talked over or unsure whether to raise their hands. So what are some of the big issues that you see women specifically facing?
I'm so glad that you've asked this question, Suketi. I think one of the biases that women face is called the tightrope bias. That is that when people are speaking in meetings, especially women, and if she is assertive, people are not even aware that they have these blind spot called biases where they'll say, oh my God, she's so bossy, or oh my God, how could she say that? But if the same point is being made by a man, they would like, oh, he's so confident, he's so ambitious. And many a times, and while we talk about gender bias being one of the biggest topics that is the talk of the town, but I also feel that women also need to support more women. And many a times you will say that, oh no, I'm very supportive of women. Sometimes we also see women saying that, you know what, she's lucky. You know what, she got it easy. So I think these are certain things that we have to be cautious of if we really want women to be seen at top leadership positions.
Now let's talk about teaching at IIM, because that also puts the focus on how important this is becoming, because this is becoming one of the courses that is being actually required at most of the business schools.
Absolutely. Brilliant point again, Sukhi, that, when I got this opportunity to teach at IIM, one of the things that they focused on was that technical subjects are great, but we need these people to focus on public speaking and presentation skills, because no matter what you do, at the end of the day, when you go for an interview, they ask you, tell me something about yourself. And I think one thing that people need to understand, that every time you're speaking with more than two people, it's public speaking, because there is public and you're speaking. So it's not just speaking in auditorium. So that's why it's one of the most critical skill. And I'm glad that I got this opportunity to learn more from the students as well as interact with them.
Now tell us, as we face this fear, what do you see? And just reinforce, because I'd love to hear from the audience too, that you are not alone, but tell us, what do you see? And what do you see as some of the fears?
Before I answer this question, I want to ask you, Suketi, do you have this fear of public speaking?
People would be shocked, but yes, I hate getting in front of an audience. I have butterflies in my stomach, and until then, I am nervous. My palms are sweaty, definitely. Even when we are coming on Zoom, I am one of those people that will log in 20 minutes before to see that everything is perfect. And if you could see my palms, they will be a bit sweaty. So definitely, I do have a little bit of nervousness and anxiety.
Thank you so much for your authenticity, Suketi. And fear rubs all of us. And anyone, like I said, public speaking is where you're speaking more than two people, right? So we all have faced it, whether it is speaking in meetings or whether you had to share an idea, you stopped yourself and you said, no, 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 what will people think? And the funny part or the irony is that we all think that this doubt is something that I'm experiencing because we are experiencing it privately. Oh my God, I think I have a doubt. Oh my God, I think I'm alone. But each one of us, when we are sitting all by ourselves, has experienced this. So I can tell everyone that we are not alone. We all have experienced it. But what you do with it is in your hands. And that's what we're going to talk about today.
That's awesome. So I think it's time to turn it over to you and let's get started and let's learn how to overcome this fear.
Absolutely. Allow me to share my screen with you and give me a thumbs up if you can see the screen. All right. Now, let's get started by addressing the elephant in the room. Imagine tomorrow you have a presentation or a meeting and you've been asked to share your views. So it's tomorrow, but tell me what are certain thoughts that go into your mind the moment you're told tomorrow you have a meeting or a presentation. If you could put that in the chat box, that would be lovely.
I would be like, no, my dog ate my homework.
All right. Interesting. What else? So, Casey, you'll have to help me with the chat box if people
Amita
are
is asking, what is the art of public speaking? We'll get to that, Amita, but we'd like to know, what would your reaction be if all of a sudden this was sprung up on you that tomorrow you have to give a presentation in front of a group?
I'll make it simpler by asking you this question. So when I have to speak in front of people, I'm afraid that, and you have to fill in the blanks.
So Bharti is saying, oh, I need to be prepared. And what kind of PPT will I prepare?
Interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Bharti. And we'll come to the PPT in a bit, but I'm also curious to ask you,
wow,
before
Sarika
even the
says,
present.
I like it. She says, I think about the dress to be worn. I love it. Dr. Vandana says, from where to start?
From where to start? Absolutely. Thanks for sharing that. And now I'm also again more curious to ask you, could you give me one word that pops into your mind the moment you think public speaking?
Kishu says, sinking feeling.
Appreciate your honesty.
So I definitely, yeah. I think Dr. Vandana says nervous. I think I would agree with her. That is my first response is nervous.
Sure. Now, if you look at the meaning of the word fear, let's first address that, because many of us feel that, oh, fear is this big thing. Now, fear is an intensely unpleasant emotion in response to perceiving a threat. Now, if I had to ask you immediately in this moment to tell me or name a fear that you experience, so one, of course, nervousness, but we need to understand that fear is your friend. And I'm sure many of you are wondering that, what is she even saying? I'll show you a picture and you have to tell me, what is this picture telling you the moment you see it?
And Amita says confidence. I love it. He's asking for a toy.
Okay, good. So
Sheena says attention.
Attention, yes, lovely. I love that. Asking for a toy. And I'm curious to even
Sarika says child looking for attention.
Child looking for attention. Absolutely. And what happens if we don't give this child attention? What would happen to the t-shirt or the salwar kameez or to the child that is pulling that thing, right? So
what would pulling it?
Yeah, keep pulling it. And till what time, till what moment the kid will keep pulling it? Till the time you don't give the attention.
Yet, like what Bharti is saying, listen to me, please. Seema says, hello, listen to me. Seema says also, listen to me, pleading for something. Mimi says, demanding.
Absolutely. And now, as weird as it may sound to most of you, I want you to just not look at this child as a fear, but see every time you experience fear as a child, your inner child telling you to pay attention to something that you have been ignoring, maybe. Because we need to understand that fear grows bigger and bigger if we don't pay attention to it. And we'll come to the intensities of it, because fear could be nervousness, it could be anxiety, it could be feeling that you're at loss of words, it could be many things. But first thing is that when you imagine yourself that you're experiencing this fear, I want you to remember this child pulling you and saying, hey, listen, pay attention. And in this moment, I'm that child who's asking you to go back to your inner child to see every time experiencing fear, what is it telling you? What are you fearful of? Can you put that down? Because we're generally saying, oh yes, nervousness. What is that nervousness about? Let's go deeper. Because till the time we don't acknowledge or call it out, we will not be able to face it. So I would love it if you can share it. So for instance, Sukirti, I remember you were saying that you don't like coming in front of the camera. So can we go deeper and you can tell me that, okay, what is it in coming in front of the camera? What's a deeper fear that we can address?
That, yeah, how will these 65 people react? Like Bharti says, acceptance. Sheena says, eye contact. Mimi says, the judgment. Yeah. And I think we're very critical of ourselves. Is my hair okay? Is my dress okay? Are my words going to be okay? Am I prepared?
Absolutely.
Seema
Absolutely. How
says,
about
what will
others?
I do? Sheena says, lack of confidence.
Absolutely. Now, in this moment, when we are saying all these things, I want you to pay attention to one thing that I'm asking from all of you. And we've just started with this session. Now, there are two ways in which you can participate or you can show up in this session. And there is a reason all of you have come to this session. There is a reason you signed it up. There's a reason you signed up for this session, and you know that reason. So I want to request that you get what you've come for in this session. You know what you want from this session. And if you're open enough to participate and be gentle with yourself and say, today I'll show up. I know vouch is a strong word, but I'll use that. I can vouch that you will come closer to managing your fear, because we cannot become fearless, but we can fear less. I'll repeat. We cannot become fearless. We can fear less. And that's the assurance I'm giving you. So if it's a fair ask, that I'll participate fully, and I want all of you also to participate fully. If it's a fair ask, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box.
So Dr. Vandana says, is fear of forgetting and not to lose the focus. Mimi, fear, vicious cycle of seeking validation. Colonel Hari Prasad, inadequate knowledge of the subject. Amita, what to say. I feel whether I can manage to communicate things correctly. Seema says, what will I do? And in a social setting, sometimes I feel, what is the small talk you should make?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Now, with that, I want to acknowledge this fact that all of you have been very honest and vulnerable till now. I really appreciate that. And I also want to acknowledge this fact that your feelings are natural. If anybody told you, no, you should never fear. No, that's not practical. Come on. But what you do with your thoughts is a choice. For instance, if in this moment, just hypothetically imagine this, if I would call out, Bharti, just see what happened. She looked in the camera. I don't know, right? And she is wondering what's up. So Bharti, if you can type your response in the chat box. The moment I called your name, what feelings rose up for you? And imagine all the other participants that it was your name that I took. Could you tell me that, let's say, dash, like fill your name on the dash. What is the feeling that rise up for you? Because I caught her off guard, isn't it? She
says scared. What is she going to ask me?
Yes, absolutely. And for some,
like
it could
feel
be
like we're in school again. The teacher caught you not paying attention.
Absolutely. And here, I feel like being very honest to you. Now, as a facilitator, when I'm making this PPT, do you see a triangle up there? Now you see. But did you really pay a lot of attention to the triangle, or you focused on the words when you saw this PPT? Would be curious. So now that I'm saying there is a triangle up there, but was that the key focus when I was mentioning this to you? Or now that I've told you, like, oh, yes, So Sukiti, what was it for you? Now that I see, did you even notice?
I just thought maybe that was just a stylistic thing. I didn't even look at it. Bharti said scared and Aarti said conscious.
Lovely. So, some of you were putting your responses down that, what if I forget? What if I do this? And I want to tell you this, that it's natural. And I want to call this out that I don't think so. This is my personal opinion, that people are so much afraid of public speaking as much as they're afraid of public judging. What will she say? Or what will he think? Like you said, that when I started the session, my hair was in place, but now maybe it's gone somewhere else. Should I fix it in front of everyone? And so give me this moment, and I'm asking everyone, when I showed you the triangle, I'm making a point here. When you look at my face, can you see this pimple here? So Kirti is going up close to the camera.
I'm like, really?
That's the thing. That's the thing. And I'm saying this because there's this thing called as spotlight effect. It is a tendency to overestimate how much people will pay attention to our flaws or imperfections. So when I said that, so maybe, when I came to this session, there was this pimple decided to pop up in the morning, and my attention was like, oh my God, this will go live on LinkedIn, Facebook, and I don't know where. All people will, the recording would be there for life, and people can watch it. And when I tell you that my attention, let's say, is on the pimple, how many of you notice this pimple, by the way? So Kirti, she's like, I'll have to zoom in. Tell me how many of you can really focus on my, or you could see that pimple on my face. Bharti's like, is it even there? Come on, Nancy. It's like, which pimple are you talking about? Yeah, she's giving me a thumbs up. Thank you. So now I'm asking this question to all of you. Either you choose to respond on the chat box, or it is a self-reflection for you, and I'm okay to give you 10 seconds. Every time there's an opportunity for you to speak, where is your spotlight? And while it's good to say that, yes, I want to be prepared, I want to give the best, that's a fair thing. But I'm saying that when you are looking at the sheet, now tell me, be honest, where did your attention go first now?
That dot.
Thank you, Sukirti. I love your honesty. How about others? Tell me honestly, where is your attention going now? As much as intellectually you have done this exercise before, and everybody must have told you we should look at what? And what are we looking at really?
The blank sheet.
And we are so conditioned. She
says the torn edges.
Yeah, sure. I'm glad that you noticed that as well. So I'm just saying that maybe this carpet area, this entire carpet area that I have, my face, my attention is only focused on this. Or maybe, oh, is my hair in place? Or like somebody said, my dress is okay. But I'm just saying this. How many of you, and please be honest, and I trust that is a safe space for all of us. How many of you, when I'm giving this presentation, want me to fail? How many of you, when you come to this room, you really want me to fail when I'm giving this presentation, or do you really want me to succeed? Type F or fail in the chat box, or type succeed in the chat box if you want me to succeed. I'm really curious to know. And there's a message why I'm asking you this. So when you see me, or when you've signed up for this workshop, would you want Nancy to succeed or stumble, if not fail? And I can tell you that every time, you prepare for your session, again, the spotlight is, if I fumble or if I say ums and ahs, people will only focus on that. And I can tell you that when I'm speaking right now, or when I actually caught Bharti off guard, she was making her notes. So all her attention was not on me. It was also on what she said. Now Bharti's looking at me again because I've called it out. Otherwise, she was busy making her notes. So we need to understand this. So tell me, what are your responses? Do you want me to succeed?
Mostly everybody is saying succeed, 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 because we will be successful. And Colonel Hari Prasad has asked a question. In public speaking, you can get away with saying anything because nobody is questioning you right then, unlike in debates. Trainers should highlight this aspect.
Wow, I will address this. As much as, so two of my favorite words, I've been saying it out loud, and some people would say, Nancy, I've heard it before. Two of my favorite words in English language are, it depends. It depends on the context. And I'll address this. Please remind me, Sukriti, we can address it because I have a longer answer to give. So maybe in the Q&A, we can address that. And I hope it's okay with Hariprasad. And yes, so the point I wanted to make here is that when you are speaking or when you have an opportunity, please understand that audience silently is cheering up for you because they're investing their time. And when you start with that notion, with the intention, and you match your actions with that, I can assure you that people are not looking for perfection. Is that right? You know that people are human. You know that slight hitches would happen here and there. But what people really appreciate is when we show up as who we are authentically and with the intention that I'm here to give something to the audience. If it's making sense to you, just give me a thumbs up in the chat box.
Bharti is saying, want to see you as real, not a copy of anyone.
Absolutely, Arti. And that's what audience also wants. And many a times, when we are giving this presentation, many people would also think that, what if it's already said before? Would people be keen to know what I have to say? And I'll address that in a bit. And I want to remind you of why it's okay to make mistakes. How many of you can relate to the picture that I have showed? How many of you, maybe with a thumbs up, can tell me, know how to ride a bicycle?
I don't.
That's okay. Have you seen people learning how to ride a bicycle? Now, this is the first step generally, that somebody would be your father or mother, or maybe a cousin or somebody would be guiding and assisting them, right? And what happens next? This. And have you seen that people actually, a kid generally falls in front of people? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. In that moment, does kid take it personally? No, I see people doing this. And I want you to take this as a key lesson that self-doubt is a learned behavior. Kid is not born with a self-doubt, right? They will, even parents would say, come on, get up, you're a strong kid, nothing happened, come on, get up. But when it comes to speaking opportunities, even if you have made a mistake, we're only focusing again on the spotlight is on the mistake, but we don't see that we put in effort, we did our best. But then we also need to see that it's only after falling and falling, or maybe, your parent is also watching from side, or maybe the audience is cheering up for you when you are doing a good job. But we also need to see the next step, that there will be times when you'll fall alone. You'll fall alone. There won't be anybody to cheer for you. You'll have to get up on your own. And why I'm giving you this story is that intellectually, most of us, when our friend will have a fall or they have an experience where they were sharing something and they come to you and say, oh my God, I made a mistake. Do we tell them that don't try next time? What do we tell them? It's okay. And that's how we learn to ride a bicycle. And I think same is the case with public speaking. If anybody told you that people are natural or born public speaker, they're lying. It's a big fat lie. All the TED speakers that you see on stage, there's a lot of rehearsal. Even there are edits that you're not aware of. There are teleprompters that you're not aware of. I can tell you this because I was lucky enough to experience it firsthand. So also we need to understand that, because on the social media, we see only the highlights of people. Nobody's posting, or I would say not many people are posting about their failures anyway. So that's why it's important to understand that it's a journey. If you relate to the story, just give me a yes in the chat box. And if you relate to this story, are you full in? Because now you're going to the real stuff. Now, my question to all of you is, when you try something, there are two things that can happen, right? When you try something new, or when you have to speak something new, or you have to try a new opportunity where you have an opportunity to speak, there are two outcomes that can happen. What would be those two outcomes according to you? So, Geeti, what do you think?
You can fail or you can succeed.
Yes. Lovely.
Sarika says positive and negative.
Okay.
Kiran says best and worst.
Yes. What else?
Satvik says embarrassment and respect. Bharti says success or failure.
So I agree that when you're trying something, the first thing is succeed. And also, instead of failure, I want to replace it with another thing. You learn. Or I would say survive. Right? Now, when I say learn, tell me anybody that you know who's successful who's never failed in life. Has it happened that anybody whom you know is successful has never failed in life? Give me a yes or a no in the chat box. And also, even if you fail, you still survive. And most of us have failed in life. And that's why we have survived it also. And that's why you're attending this session if you would not have survived that. Right? So, one thing that we need to understand is that fear is a made up story of something that has not happened as yet. I repeat, fear is a made up story of something that has not happened as yet. For instance, what if I forget? Okay, if you forget, I have something to show you. You carry these cue cards because people like more human speakers, not perfect speakers. It's okay to carry it in your hand. That is taken care of. Yes. Second, what if people judge me? Now let me share an interesting thing. Whether you speak or whether you don't speak, people are judging any which ways. So why not speak?
That's a great point, because if you don't make a contribution, people are still judging you that, okay, that person didn't say anything.
Absolutely. And I'm reminded of an example of a great basketball player. And in one of his interviews, people said, "Oh my God, you're the best basketball player in the world." And he said that, "Thank you so much, but you are not talking about the 9,000 shots that I have missed." Right? So with that, I also want to tell you that when you are experiencing performance anxiety, right? Performance anxiety is that whenever you have to speak in front of others, you have this, oh my God, what will happen? Now, I want to ask this question. When you are experiencing fear, physiologically, what all do you experience in your body? So Kirti said that sweaty palms, right? What else do you experience? Your heartbeat rate increases? Yes? Your breathing
Sheena says
also?
palpitations or thumping continues.
Absolutely. Now, I want you to tell me, yes or a no, is it the same kind of physiology you experience when there is excitement? For instance, let's say it's a roller coaster ride. Your heartbeat rate increases, or you're like, huh, unless until that's your profession. Right? Second, there are chances that your hands might sweat, or your palms might sweat also. Yes? And your heartbeat rate would also increase. Now, the point I'm trying to make here is that there was a study which was done by Harvard Business School, which was research on performance anxiety. They said when somebody is experiencing some kind of anxiousness or nervousness, please calm down, doesn't help. Have you ever told somebody, calm down? What is their response generally? Why? Or please? Or, yeah? So instead of that, if you train your mind and say, I'm excited to share my contribution. Yes, I'm feeling a little bit of jitters, the butterflies in the stomach, but I'm excited to make this contribution. As much as you'll say, but Nancy, this is the fear. This is something that my mind is telling me. How can I just say excitement? And I can prove this in a bit, but I want also to ask you this question: that when your friend experiences fear every time they have a tricky thing, what do you tell them? Do you tell them that, yeah, it's better not to try only because you're already experiencing this? Leave it.
Lots of answers. Sarika is saying breathe in, breathe out. Bharti is saying it's okay, relax. Kiran says learn from failure and I move on. Bharti says take it easy. Sheena says hey, it's okay. Amita says chill. Arti says never give up.
Fantastic. Now, we are in this together, like I said, that fear becomes smaller as much closer you go to it, and it becomes bigger the more you don't tackle it, right? So I want you to address it by answering this, because we need to understand that fear and the response to it happens in pair. For instance, if let's say I'm already thinking about fear of failure, what is the next thought generally that will happen? I'll start overthinking, isn't it? Oh my God, what will people think? Oh my God, what if I forget? Oh my God. And if I'm overthinking, what will happen? Self doubt. And do you think I can do, I'll take any action? Then the favorite thing will happen. It starts with P. What is that? What would we do? It starts with P, and I can tell you how many words, the alphabets are there. Maybe 12.
Procrastination.
Thank you. That's
All right, Kiran. And Miss Meenal says palpitation.
And then we don't do anything about it. Also, we need to understand the moment you change this thing. So, for instance, if you're experiencing fear of failure, if I change one thing next to it, the entire dynamics would change, and that would be action. Even a small action, as much as getting up and saying, okay, can I just jot down the points that I might have to speak? Just that small shift. I'm not even talking about PPT. I'm not even talking about the flow. I'm just saying that small step. And then what happens? When you're moving one step forward, you're building a skill. This is how you take care of your fear. So every time you are fearing something and there's another thought, you need to take care of this thought, because I told you that it works in pairs. The moment this is replaced with an action, the entire cycle changes. If it's making sense with you, just give me a yes in the chat box.
Ms. Meenal says beautiful, taking action. Yes. And I think also what it does is it puts it into a more of a positive frame, because you feel like you're doing something about it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And another thing that I want to talk about is something called as imposter syndrome. How many of you are aware of that word?
I think so. It's very much in the and Bharti is requesting, please repeat the point.
Which point would you want me to repeat?
I think this fear to action.
Sure. So I said that whenever we are doing something, so for instance, if I am experiencing fear of, let's say, failing, immediately ask yourself a question. What action can I take to avoid fear of failure? So it could be as basic as, can I call my friend and seek support? Remember the bicycle thing that I showed you, the journey? Initially, it's okay to seek support and say, hey, I'm experiencing this. Do you have an idea? Because sometimes we may not have answer to all the questions. Do you see? You took a small action of that call. Your friend was like, come on, you can do it, come on. And what you're doing necessarily here is that you're building a skill. And when you're doing this, remember the last picture I showed you about that? You will be on your own and you'll be fine. So every time you are in a situation where you're feeling stuck, remember that ride of the bicycle. I've showed you the journey. Maybe your parents are not around, they're in different city or they're not around. Call that friend. I hope you have at least one of that friend who can just say, hey, come on, give you that pep talk. And then they can leave you after that pep talk and you can ride your own bicycle and then take the lead. I hope it's making sense. If it is, just give me a yes in the chat box so that we can move forward. Yes? All right. So now let's get into the real thing. We've spoken about the fear and you're like, okay, Nancy, we got it. We need to, fear is a made up story because it has not happened as yet. So I need to take care of that. But how do we prepare now that we've taken care of the fear? How do we come into the action? So my question to all of you is that what's the first thing comes to your mind when you're preparing something? What's the first thing that you start doing? So tomorrow you have a presentation or a speech to give. what's the first thing that you start to do?
I start making notes.
Start making notes.
Sarika says I jot down my thoughts.
Lovely, you jot down your thoughts. And what are those thoughts about?
Kiran Kalyani says that preparation.
Preparation, sure. I'm curious to ask you
Priyanka says research. Jessica says I plan my presentation.
Lovely.
Sheena says I relax and take a deep breath.
Amazing. Okay. So while you hold on these thoughts,
says I just get tensed.
All right. Lovely. So while you are sharing these thoughts, I have another question for you, and I'll address the preparation part in a bit because that answers the question indirectly. Who is the hero of this presentation that I'm giving right now?
The audience.
Thank you. What else? Would love to hear from others. Who is the hero of this presentation?
Me, Kiran says.
Yes, absolutely. And I think the first step that we need to take care of when we are preparing anything is what's in it for the audience. The best FM channel that everybody is interested in is WIIFM. What's in it for me? So when you're preparing anything, start from the end. What would audience be keen on learning? What's a key takeaway? And I'm telling you, when you focus your attention from yourself to the audience, because you are focusing not on, oh my God, what will I do? Now you're focusing on what does the audience want? What would be the demography? Then you are focusing on the preparation, then the entire focus spotlight goes away from yourself to the audience. And I can tell you, this is a magical thing if you can start doing that. What can I give away to my audience? What value can I add to my audience? And immediately you shift your attention to the contribution rather than focus on the criticism that is self-made. Yes? Besides that, of course, your structure and everything is there. There are 3 V's that generally take place in terms of when you're preparing. That is verbal, which talks about structure. I'll be only focusing on 2 V's, considering the time that we have. That is visual and vocal. Yes? Now, I know some of you are not on the camera. I want to do an exercise with you. And this exercise is very powerful to show you what kind of visual, credible public speaker you can become. So if you are with me, just give me a thumbs up so that you're all ready, because you'll have to do an exercise with me. Are you all ready? Okay. So maybe Sukirti or Bharti, or I see few people who are on camera can do this exercise for all of us to see. And I trust all of you because you have promised me that you will fully participate. Now I want you to bring your palms in front like this, like how I'm doing. Make a fist like this. Bring it closer, 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 and put it on your chin. Good. So now you can put it down. Now I want to take you back to your kindergarten days. I feel like saying, children, is it chin or cheek? Tell me, what is it?
Cheek.
Yes. And if I may ask, I gave you the instruction. What did you pay more attention to? Action. Yes? And some of you are smiling and saying, I know, right? And I can see some listeners, how could I do it? I know that you're aware that this is chin, and I trust you with that. And I want to also tell you one thing, that evolution-wise, human evolution-wise, language came a little later. We earlier used to talk to each other through non-verbal language. So that's why it's hardwired in us. That's why when somebody tells you, nice, would you really believe it's nice, or would you say, should I try another dress? Maybe this is not nice. And that's why it's important to understand that speaker, if you tell somebody, I'm really excited to do this session with all of you, and we're going to have a lot of fun, and I can assure you that. Do you really feel that the audience can sense that energy? No, right? And I can vouch that with you that why people tune out also is because our words and actions don't match. And people are most likely, and I know we should not make a judgment. It will take some evolution for people to not only ask and take that first step and say, oh, I'm sorry, I misjudged your expressions. Could you please explain? But they will definitely go by their gestures. And I have proof to tell you this. Do you see the picture on the left, which is from Shark Tank? Yes? If you, or let me ask you this question. How many of you have seen Shark Tank? Just say I if you have. Okay, great. Now, this picture is from people who represented Mommy's Kitchen. They had fantastic product. They were into pizzas. And even the sharks were very impressed by the quality of the pizzas. And they said, oh my God, the quality is great. But unfortunately, they didn't get a deal. And the reason was, of course, there could be several factors, but the moment they enter the hall, most of them were standing like this. So do you see it's a protective gesture? It's like as if they're hiding something. And if you have also read books, I know some of you have seen this, that they have said that don't do this. So imagine if it's a Q&A round and I say, all right, I'm open to questions and I'm doing this. Would you really think that I'm open to questions? Yes or no? Well, you can ask me questions. Marty's like, no, yes. Now, I also want to give you a disclaimer here that while people are forming a perception about us when we are sitting like this as a speaker, but I want to give you a word of caution here that if an audience member, let's say Sukirti is right now sitting like this because she's paying keen attention, all right? If somebody, let's say if Bharti decides to sit like this, or Sarika decides to sit like this, or Satwik decides to sit like this, it could be that they are comfortable in this. So please do not take that personally. Okay, so you don't make a judgment by one gesture when you're looking at the audience. Plus, please be rest assured that maybe they have read the book and this is a closed gesture and they will make a judgment on you. So it's good to be cautious and aware. And with that, I want to tell you then, okay, if this doesn't work, how do people tune in? So I want to do another exercise with you. Could you put your palms in front again and see the back side now? Now see the front side. Now see the back side. And I want you to see it. Not so which of the side, according to you, is very soothing to your eyes as you're doing this? Palms front, back. Which is more soothing? The front. For some, it's back. I would love to see the responses in the chat box. Is it front or is it back? Sarika, what do you think this time? You can tell me. I could see.
Chitra
Remember the
says
last time.
palms. Miss Meenal says front. Sarika says front.
So majority of the responses are front.
Looking better, or is this looking better?
You can see and tell.
Back. Raja Nagendra says back. So I think we're toured on this.
Okay, sure. And now I'll tell you that when somebody, imagine when somebody is waving at you, and if they do this, so hi. I mean, I know it looks awkward. What is she up to? But imagine if I start doing this and say bye, or I say bye. Now see which one is more appealing to you. This. And again, there is a science behind this. Because when you also look at the way handshake is done, or when you are extending your hand, it's because we trust people more when we see their open palms. It's like we feel safe. All right. So when you talk about, again, another proof, you see the picture at the top most level. This is again from Shark Tank. Now this person was selling a product and his brand is called Urban Monkey. When he entered the hall, he said, hello sharks. Now you might say that what about content? Is it not important? I'm not saying that and I'm not denying that, but I'm just saying your openness inspires more openness. Because when you are comfortable with who you are, people also become comfortable to respond to what you're saying. For instance, if you look at the picture which is down, which is of Sudha Murthy, When she speaks also, it builds more credibility. And second thing is, during Q&A, if people are asking the question, and if you can just lean in a little bit, that also shows. And of course, it has to be genuine. You just lean in and you're not paying any attention to what they're saying, and it will not make any sense. If so far you're getting what we are talking about, just give me a yes in the chat box. And if you have any questions on body language, you can post them in the chat box, and then we can move on to the next part, which is vocal. So, Katie, I'm curious to ask you, what fascinates you when it comes to body language?
What fascinates me? Oh, that's an
When
interesting.
you look at a great speaker, or when you see confident
I think
speakers.
they look confident. They look like, that they're there and they're actually involved in their material.
Absolutely. And I want to ask all of you who are maybe sitting on the bed and attending this session, or maybe on the chair or wherever it is, there's another science behind this. Whenever you are giving a presentation, your posture or how your body alignment is equally important. And I have a question for you. Imagine these two candles were placed on a table, and if I did like this on the table, which candle is most likely to fall first? The left one. What are the people saying?
The slimmer one.
The
So
slimmer
we're
one.
getting lots of answers on the other question, what people notice, and I'll just read some of them. Confidence, smile, expression. I have a query, Sarika is asking. I agree on your points, but it's difficult to remember all these small things. Don't worry, Sarika, we've got the video available on our Facebook page, so please do rewatch it. Poise, Bharti says, just like Barack Obama. Amita says, brave. Chatra says, confident and feel they know what they're talking about. Sudha says, posture. Amita says, personality. And the way they talk. And thin and the elegant, and the slimmer one is about to fall.
Absolutely. And I'll tell you the science behind this. Now imagine if I make myself a little smaller and I conduct this session like this, and I say, which one do you think will fall first? The slimmer one or the next one? And versus I say, so you can't see my legs right now, but they are parallel on the ground. Okay. So I'm occupying more space rather than so cross leg is fine, but I'm saying that if you want to take it to one notch higher, so your feet planted on the ground, so you're occupying more space. So just see this again. Left one or right one versus left one or right one. Immediately your body talks and exudes confidence because you are firmly planted on the ground. So I would invite all of you, the next time that you're speaking or having a conversation with others, make sure. Some people dance. Have you seen when they're standing also, they do this? It's like if you are indecisive, people will also think. So next time, imagine as if it will help you. Okay, it may sound a little cheeky, but imagine there's fevicol below your sole, below the shoe sole. So you will be planted. Only move when you're making a next point. Now see what happens if I do this. So this is important, this is important, this is important. Are your eyes moving along with my hands? And imagine if I'm walking on the stage like this. See, your eyes are moving as well. So that's why if you look at TED Talks or if you look at brilliant speakers, they make a point. I'm not saying they don't move. They make a point so that people have their attention and then they move.
And I think something I'll ask you right now, because I think it's also very important, because I've seen this quite a bit. In all the offices, you have these swivel chairs. And a lot of times people forget and they're swiveling on the chair, even if they're asking a question, rather than making sure that they are firmly actually planted before they make their point. Because, this just does not give any kind of a...
Absolutely, that's a brilliant point. And that's why I said that the moment, because if I sit right now, I've just crossed my legs, there will be a tendency because now one leg is hanging in the air. But when I have planted my feet on the ground, and even if I want to move slightly, then you'll be more aware and conscious. Because that's why it is said body language. In this moment, I want you to check where are your legs? I mean, of course, they're attached to your body, but where are they placed? Where are your arms? Of course, again, but what are they doing? What are your eyes doing? Just quick check. Are you even aware? If some of you are sitting like this, are you aware? or if some of you are leaning in, even if your camera is not, just check in of your body. What is happening? Are you aware now? And if yes, just give me a thumbs up in the chat.
Bharti says, I planted my legs looking at you.
Love that. And slowly and gradually, you see these are small tips, small actions, and they will bring in a change. You will see. Because it's not that a big thing has to happen to make a big change. These are small cumulative changes, slowly and gradually, you see that will make a big change. All right, so let's move on to the second element. And I've spoken about this, that the more open you are, it inspires openness. And I want to do a quick exercise. How many of you feel that you end up when you're making a point and all eyes are on you, you are, this flag or the point I want to make, like the thing that, does that happen? So I would want to volunteer for this. And Sukiti, you'll have to help me. Who would be keen to volunteer this with me, where it's not a magic, but I can assure you that
All
I can
right,
help.
Seema has volunteered. I'm going to ask her to unmute. Go ahead, Seema.
All right,
Yes.
Seema.
So
I really
I'm just going to turn your presentation off for a second so we can see both of you.
Sure.
Great.
Yeah.
I'm unable to see her, but
Great.
Yeah.
Both of you are there. I'm just pinning both of you side by side.
okay. So Seema, we will be having a conversation, general conversation. And the tip really is that every time you have this urge of saying or stretching any word, I would request you to take a pause of 1 or 2 seconds. It's okay to take that pause and then start the next sentence. And every time I feel that you've stretched it, is it an okay ask to say start from the beginning, Seema? Is it okay?
Yeah, it's okay.
Great. So let's begin. Hello, Seema. Where are you from?
I'm from Jaipur.
Lovely. Where in Jaipur do you stay?
I stay in Jaipur on the outskirts of Jaipur, like on Delhi Road.
And since how long have you been staying in Jaipur? And what do you love about Jaipur?
I've been staying since the last 33 years after I got married. Yeah.
And what do you love about Jaipur?
I love the colors of Jaipur. People.
Do it one more time,
yes.
Seema. I'll ask the question again. What do you love about Jaipur?
I love the colors of Jaipur. People are always enjoying life. I mean, celebrating festivals and lots of get-togethers. And at what age I am, I think it's quite a laid-back city, but I'm enjoying it. Because earlier, definitely I didn't enjoy it because I could see people just having a gala time. But now I think at this point of time, I'm quite accustomed to it, you could say that, or getting the zincs of it. I mean, just got the culture imbibed in me.
Fantastic. Do you see the shift, Seema, that happened initially to immediately when we ask the question again? Free flow answer. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
I really appreciate you participating.
Thank you. Thank you.
And we can now get back to the presentation. So Kirti, over to you, if you can help me.
You will have to reshare it.
I'll have to reshare it. All right. Are you able to see it now?
Yes, perfect.
Thank you. Now, these are small things, and you've seen it, like I said, here and now. And it's not magical. And I see her smiling as well. So lovely to see that as well. Another thing that many of us experience is of the upspeak. How many of us sometimes, if I say, hi, my name is Nancy, I know that you may not be speaking in that flat monotone, but it's very important to have vocal variety because otherwise the audience will go off to sleep. So we are going to do one more exercise quickly. And for that also, I need a volunteer who would be okay. And I'm harmless, right? It was a safe activity, so you don't have to worry. And like I said, the more you participate, and you've given me that promise, and with that assurance, just please raise your hand if you are ready. We can do that activity.
Come on, we're looking for some volunteers. That's the only way we're going to get over our fear.
Absolutely. The more closer you go to your fear, the better it becomes. What? Speaking.
Okay,
Not just
Sheena says her, so I'm going to ask her to unmute. Go ahead.
maybe next one I'll take you. All right.
So Sheena is unmuted.
All right, Sheena. So it's a simple thing. What I want you to do is I'm going to say a sentence and I want you to focus on one word and say that sentence. And the sentence is, I will say you are lazy. You will focus on the word you and say the rest of it in one tone. For example, I will focus on the word lazy and give you a demonstration. I didn't say you were lazy, so you have to focus on the word you. Over to you.
I didn't say you are lazy.
We'll try one more time. Fantastic attempt. You will only
I didn't
focus
say you are lazy.
yes. And what is the message we get when when Sheena is saying this? I didn't say you are lazy. Maybe she's saying Ishita is, right? So when you are speaking, I have seen people speaking in meetings, they would say this is a very important point, and people don't even listen to it. So when you are saying something and it is important, focus on the word important. This is a very important point. All right. One more exercise, Bharti, if you are ready, because I saw that you had raised your hand, we'll do this activity with you.
And I am asking her to unmute. Go ahead, Bharti.
All right. So Bharti, what we're going to do is that imagine a Q&A is going on and you have to just say that it's a lovely question or thank you for asking, whichever is your response. I want you to look at the audience and I want you to focus on your vocal variety. So if it's a lovely question, what expression will match that when you're saying that? Over to you, Bharti.
Oh, Nancy, it's a lovely question.
Thank you. So we can, and now if you can say that in a very dull voice, but still say it's a lovely question.
It's a lovely question.
So I'm not sure if it's a lovely question or not. So, these are small nuances, and sometimes we underestimate the power of these small nuances. So my ask would be that the next time you are speaking, make sure that the last word or the last sentence, the way you end the sentence should not have upspeak. I'll give you an example. I'm so excited. Now it becomes a question mark. Or, are you from Pune? So if somebody has already said that I'm from Pune, or my name is Nancy Katyal, so, it becomes a question mark. And we don't even realize sometimes we end our sentences with a question mark. For instance, people tend to fear public speaking. So that's a sentence. People tend to fear public speaking. So it's very important to understand there should not be an upspeak. The end sentence should not end with a question mark. It should be many people fear public speaking. Like that. And of course, there has to be vocal variety. Before I move on to the next part, and I know that some of you are still hesitating and still we are asking, why does that happen? Because some of you, let me call out the elephant in the room, might be busy with maybe a coffee mug or maybe attending to something else while you're attending this session. And then sometimes you wonder, intellectually, I know I need to try. Intellectually, I know that I need to start speaking. Intellectually, I know that I need to get rid of this. But why are we not taking an action? Is because we are distracted. So always remember the word distraction also ends with an action. So the moment you take an action, then only you take care of this feeling. And I'm moving on to the last part because I'm also aware that there will be questions. Now, when we are doing all of this, which is public speaking, and how do we get rid of that? What happens is that when we look at many people, or when we look at people who speak very confidently, what is the first thing you think about them? So you see a public speaker, you see maybe people like Ankur Warikoo, or Mel Robbins, or Lisa Nichols, or Anthony Robbins. What is your first thing or impression about them that you have or carry about them as public speaker?
Easy body language. I said confidence. Well prepared. They're full of confidence, well-spoken, Sheena says.
Lovely.
They're positive.
Positive.
They have no fear. Seema says they know what to say.
Lovely.
And Chatra, I'm sorry I'm pronouncing your name wrong, but not afraid of speaking their mind. Seema says points are clear. Sapna says they are inherent. Amita says strong. Priyanka Singh says they connect with the audience. I love that. Guinea says fluent. Sarika says a warm, friendly face. They wear their conviction, says Mimi.
So if I see a connection in all these words, it's like they're sure of who they are. But I can tell you one thing, that any person, and I'm repeating the word, any person or any speaker that you see who appears very confident, has it all together, there's a lot of preparation going on. And with that, I tell you the story behind that. So, there was this horse and a boy, and this story comes from the book, The Boy, the Mule, the Horse, and the Fox. So this boy and horse were just enjoying the scenic beauty, and the boy asked the horse, do you look at these ducks? They look so together, and they are just swimming very, very, everything all together, seamlessly. How do they do that? And the horse says, there's a lot of frantic paddling going on beneath the water that you can't see. So every time you see a speaker like me who is climbing up the ladder maybe, or who you see maybe Ankur Warikoo or Anthony Robbins, you can see their videos where they openly talk about the notes that they carry before they make a video. So one thing that I can tell you is that preparation is the key. There's no running away from that. But I can also tell you that when you come to a room with the intention that you want to give, people are very welcoming. So far, you all have been very encouraging and participating, because people can see through the intention of speakers. Is that correct? Even if a speaker does here and there a little bit fumble, but if you see that their intention is they want to give, they genuinely want to give. Because we have also attended the presentations where you attend the presentation, they'll say, I'll share the secret tip in a bit, and you're waiting for that in a bit, and then say, come for this program, sign up for this program. And you're like, that's cheating. Okay? So, whenever you are showing up in a room and you're authentic, I can assure you that people trust you and people can gauge that energy. So next time you are talking or preparing for anything, please understand that confidence is a willingness to try. Unless you don't try it, you can't deny it. You can't just deny that, oh, I have fear. No, you have to try it, then deny it. Again, confidence is the willingness to try. People who appear confident to you, in spite of those butterflies in the stomach, they are willing to try because they think that there is a bigger purpose, bigger contribution above them that they can give to people so that they can contribute in their own way. So that's what I had to offer to all of you. And I hope you would be practicing what we are discussing and take that first step and make your friend fear. And remember that child who's pulling that t-shirt, fear is doing just that. Fear is just saying, hey, pay attention. If fear is telling you, you will forget, you're just saying, what I'm going to forget? What can I do? And I've shown you, carry these, okay? Make these your friends. It's okay to carry this because people will actually understand that the speaker has paid attention to the preparation. That's why the notes are there. In fact, they will respect you more rather than, hey, you know what? I have it all together. Everything all together. Come on. And we can also sense difference from arrogant to authentic speakers as well. And I love the smiles that I see on the video. So thank you so much. And we are now good to take the questions. Over to you.
The first one I will take is what Colonel Hari Prasad had asked, that nobody is questioning you, unlike in debates. Trainers should highlight this aspect that he was talking about.
I'm glad that you're asking this question. It's interesting. It would depend on nice audience. So you all didn't question me, but I can tell you there are spaces where people will question you. So it depends on the context, like I had added. But is that true that people don't question public speakers? Then trolling wouldn't exist, right? Both the aspects are there. So I would say that I personally believe that even if somebody is questioning you, and if you, let's say, don't have an answer, there are certain techniques that one can use to say that, allow me some time, I'll get back to you. Or in this moment, what I can gather or share with you is this. So I personally believe that you are kind to say that public speakers are not questioned, and in debate people are questioned. It will depend on the context setting.
So Seema had a question, but I also had a point, and I read this somewhere, and I'm taking it from somebody else, that 80% of your time should be spent in preparation and 20% in actually speaking your presentation. And we forget that part, that, you know, it's great that we've done everything, we've done the slides, but we haven't actually rehearsed in the way that we're going to speak.
Absolutely. And here I would add that, you know, the talking points are good because we don't also need to sound like a robotic person. People can sense that also. It should not be practiced word to word, but if you have talking points, for instance, this PPT helps me to know, because I'm also a human being, what is the next point that is coming after what I'm sharing. So yes, preparation definitely is the key. That's why that duck story that I shared, I agree with you, Sakhi.
Seema, go ahead. Seema.
Yeah. Nancy, it was lovely hearing you. And I love the story of the ducks. I mean, the preparation thing is really good. But what happens, like, if you're asked to speak impromptu and the topic which is given to you, you just don't know what to speak. Like, and you have to tell a story also about it. And there's no story coming in your mind. So how do you blow that one?
Love that. And I have a quick tip for all of you and also for you. I love your question. I call it 3 words. And let's practice it so that, you know, it should not be a jumbo bumbo. Oh, she said it, but it's not practical. Give me any topic. And I know I'm putting myself on the spot, but let's try this. Give me any topic. Please don't give me technical, like, you know, science and all that, but technical topic would not be something that I would be like Java, or, you know, script like that. But general topic, give me anything, and I'll tell you what I mean by 3.
Like, if I say, like, I think you have to speak on where there is a will, there is a way. And just tell me a story about it. And now story is coming to your mind. Remember that, and you have to speak something about it.
Sure. Now, the moment now you have asked me this, do you see I'm gathering my thoughts as I'm speaking to you right now?
Yes.
Do you see what I'm doing right now? So there is
Yes.
you said if there is a will, there is a way.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, there are 3 words that come to my mind. That is, if you have willingness to work on something, you can find a way. So willingness is the first word.
Yeah.
Second is a failure story from my own journey that comes to my mind.
Yeah. Which is not coming to your mind at the present.
Okay. So let's do it. Let me reverse, or let me put you on the spot. Okay.
Oh my
because
God.
you are a speaker. Don't worry. We are in this together. And the idea is not to, you know, put the spotlight in the wrong way. We'll do this together. Because please understand, when somebody asks you impromptu also, it's not that, chalo bolo. You can just say, allow me 2 minutes. Can you ask for, it's not that, so sure, allow me 2 minutes to gather my thoughts. So that is your savior. First sentence you would tell that person is, lovely, I love the topic. Allow me 2 minutes to gather my thoughts. And people will not say no. You say, sure, 2 minutes is nothing. Now, next thing that I will ask you is, where there is will, there is a way. Tell me the first word that is coming to your mind as you say, think about that.
Desire something so deliberately, or you will find a way to get it.
Lovely.
Like you say na कि जब हम, when you put a desire to the universe, सारी कायनात, जो शाहरुख खान का डायलॉग है, सारी कायनात उसे देने के लिए तैयार रहती है.
आपने तो स्टोरी भी बोल दी और आप मुझे बोल रहे हैं कि, so do you see the beauty? Because you genuinely felt that Nancy wants me to succeed. And you shifted the focus from yourself to the contribution. Do you see the magic? So you have already given, my dear, 2 things: desire and kaina. But the dialogue, see, it was so relatable. So Kirti was smiling when you were saying that. It was so relatable. You're a better speaker than me, for sure, Seema. What
Thank
is the
you.
third one that comes to your mind now, as you said that? So the kaina thing, and how can you conclude that? When you're thinking about where there is will, there is a way. Can you think of a third word that comes to your mind?
Yeah, I just know that it's always said that yeah, everything if you have to get something, it needs a whole lot of practice and consistency in your practice. So when you put a desire to that and you have that intense desire, कहते हैं ना वो एक ओसीडी होनी चाहिए किसी चीज को पाने के लिए, तो तुम दिन में सपने देखने लग जाते हो, रात को नहीं, and then you get it and you work for it.
She is proving herself wrong. You are a star, Seema. So
Thank
again, remember, fear is a made-up story of something that has not happened yet. You were saying that, but you don't know, Nancy. You don't know these words. You knew it. So I would say, have faith in yourself, Seema. The kind of things that you're saying, and you could have, if I would have not stopped you, I can tell you, you could have said more things. So only thing is that I can tell you, you are a confident speaker. Only you need to tell yourself you are. I hope that helps you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. You made my day.
You made my day.
Thank you.
We'd love to take one more question from the audience. If anybody has one, quickly let us know. Otherwise, we will take Nancy's last tip as we end for today. So I don't see any more questions. I think we took them as we were going along. So
Someone said I forgot.
I forgot.
You can take 5 seconds to and I love that niceness and honesty there. Yes, please go ahead. Somebody is asking, I think.
No, I don't see any. It's okay. I think, people have gotten lots of tips. A lot of people have been asking, where will this video be available? It's on our Facebook page. You can find all of our videos there on facebook.com/sipping thoughts. They're all there. And Nancy, your last tip, what you would like to leave us with this evening?
I would say that whenever there is a speaking opportunity, rephrase it in your mind to the contribution, then to the criticism, and you will immediately see a shift. Every time you can contribute to someone, you are helping or assisting not only them, but learning and growing yourself as a person. I think that's a big win-win for both the parties involved.
Now we have a couple of questions coming in, and I agree. Dr. Vandana Saxena is asking a brilliant question, and so is Suman and Ritu. So sorry, I'm going to take all these three. 1 second, I'm just unmuting everyone. Go ahead, Ritu.
Yeah. Hi, Nancy. My question is like, in most of the webinars, I just feel if I only ask a question when I feel that it's very substantial to it. Otherwise, I just prefer to keep quiet. Is it fine, or is there something I should avoid?
Do you want me to be honest with you or diplomatic? I can.
Honest answer.
First thing I would ask you is that to ask yourself this question: what is stopping me from sharing? What is the story again going in my mind? I can tell you one of.
Like suppose webinars which like I've written down a book on Bollywood. So if the question is related to it, I would be the first person to volunteer before even the webinar. See, I would be asking the question, and there is no hesitation or anything. But otherwise, I prefer listening to it. That's it.
So you can answer this question better than I do because you know yourself better than I do. So my question to you is that because you have brilliant questions, so what stops you from asking that question? Do you have this idea that, oh, this is a common question, people already know this? Does that thought cross your mind, Ritu?
No. I feel everybody is speaking so such relevant things. So if you if you're not adding something very substantial, so let it go in that direction. That is the only thing.
But I can tell you one thing, Ritu, the question that you asked right now is such a relevant question, but many people would not have gathered the courage to ask what you're asking right now. So one thing I can tell you as an addition is that your questions are relevant as long as they're relevant to you. So next time, any question that you have, it's a request, please go ahead and ask. Because the question that you have asked right now, you have no idea how useful it will be for everyone. But maybe people wouldn't have asked because no question is a silly question. I think all questions are relevant.
Like Chatra is also saying the thing. We
Thank you so
thinking
much.
it's a stupid question, but I agree. And also what happens in a webinar, we are looking for feedback. And the only way to get the feedback from the audience is to understand whether they're responding back to us in chat, whether they're asking questions. Otherwise, it becomes a very one-way dialogue. Now, 2 more questions. Short and sweet introductions is what Dr. Vandana Saxena is asking. And Suman is asking, I forget while speaking.
Okay, so let me first address the introduction question. I'm giving you a template. I'm not a very big fan of template, but it helps me. So you say, I help people do dash. So for instance, I'm Nancy Katyal. I help people become more confident speaker by helping them share strategies and frameworks that are practical. Similarly, you can also ask yourself, I help people do dash. As a result of that, what are they getting? So that's a short introduction. Because what happens is that if, let's say, you're saying that I'm a communication coach, when I'm talking about myself, so people say, okay, you're a communication coach. But the moment I talk about the value I add to people, it is short and sweet introduction. People would be curious to then ask you, what do you do? I hope it answers your question.
And the second question, we forget when we're speaking.
Okay, so be kind to yourself. Let me, in this moment, I feel like being very, very vulnerable. I also forget, and there is some things that I also write. I said this, try it before you deny it. So any person, even including me, who's ever told you that they, oh my God, they just know it.
And I have my notes on the screen, usually right in front. So I'm never looking at the speaker. So in front of me are always my notes. So that is how I do it. It is not like I am memorize the thing. I am actually reading from there. But because my camera is placed in such a way, I'm hoping you don't notice it so much.
And I'm again saying this, that, people know that we are humans. As long as they can see your intention that Nancy or XYZ person has come prepared, they would be kind to you. That's my belief. And every time I enter the room, I have to talk to strangers. And the love that all of you have shown today, and I have faltered in some sessions, but I have only lifted myself up by taking the learnings from the session. And second time when I come to another session, I've only taken it to the next notch. So I would say that it's okay to carry notes if you think that you will forget. And what you can also do as a kid, what I found really useful was preparing acronyms. For instance, FEAR, false evidence appearing where, right? So what are your first points? Let me do a quick exercise if you're in for it, because we think, again, it's a story that I'll forget, but if you have support, I will tell 5 things very quickly to you. No cheat sheet, because some of you don't have your cameras on. So I trust you that you will not write this down, okay? Because it is based on trust. I can't see all of you. I'll quickly say words and you have to remember them. Let me say 7, okay? 5, 7. Let me be a little harsh on you. All right. Thank you, Ritu. I really, really appreciate it. Now, first word, okay? Sun, socks, traffic light, car, star, can, rainbow. Tell me in this, and I will tell you the tip to remember this exactly in the sequence I've said it. So
Can you repeat it once?
Star, rainbow.
Can you repeat it once again?
I would have loved to, but that's where my strategy is, Seema. I have to tell you the strategy. That's where the magic is. I can't tell you it again. Tell me what was the first one, or in the chat box if people can put it. And I'll tell you the strategy.
Sun.
Second.
Stars.
Star.
Socks.
Star.
Socks.
Socks. Yes.
Socks. Then traffic lights.
And fifth one?
Car.
Signal. No.
Okay. Let me
Car,
give you the
stars.
Abhi, it's like a guess game going on. Is that thing? Is that thing? Okay, let's do this. Now socks is coming on force. No, no, no. Let me give you the tip. How many? So number one, how many suns in the entire universe, or maybe in India? How many pair of socks? So
Two,
traffic light. How many?
three,
Car has how many tires?
four,
Star has how many sides?
five.
I said can, so six pack of can, right? So you have to visualize, right? So I'm telling you the technique. So six, I visualize it as a can, like six का pack आता है ना can का, 12 का भी आ सकता है, कुछ भी हो सकता है, but then and then rainbow has how many colors?
7.
7. All right. So quickly, one, just
Sun.
tell me one.
Sun.
Second,
Socks.
Socks,
third,
Traffic lights.
fourth,
car,
4. Car. 5th.
5,
Stars.
star,
Stars. 6th.
Six.
Can. And 7th.
7th.
Rainbow.
rainbow.
people said they forget, they are lying. Practice. So you have participated fully. And so Kirti is like, I got it together. I've done it. Absolutely. So that's why I said that there is it's not that frankly paddling also. I don't want to overwhelm you, but little bit of effort. And you all have done it. I just told you. So that's the visualization. So when I'm preparing my session, there's a long way for me to go. I need to learn more. But what helps me is I build a story in my mind so that when the next slide goes, I don't go, oh yeah. So, and the people are also like, oh really? She's seeing it for the first time, or maybe she's not. So that helps me. And I would practice what Sukirti said about the notes. I'm still, because I feel like if I look at the notes, people will figure out. I have to still learn that. Maybe that's also a very useful tip that Sukirti has shared. Over to you, Sukirti.
Well, thank you everyone for joining us. I wanted one last question. We want to figure out whether people like 5 o'clock, people like 6 o'clock. We're very confused with this time changes. So please do also let us know what time you prefer for the sessions and what days. And Abraham is saying, hey, Nancy, this was such a great session. Would love to attend more. How do I stay up to date with your speaking sessions?
Please follow me on LinkedIn. Little branding pitching here.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. And please follow us on LinkedIn too. Seema says, superb session. Totally agree. And I hope all of you will try this. And please do send us back if you've tried any of it and how you felt. Awesome. I wish everyone a good night tonight.
Thank you so much, everyone. It was lovely interacting with all of you.
क्या स्टार्ट लगेगी या वैसे ही डाल दिया?